So, I'm sitting down, and these people at this point, there's just no there's no limit of how illogical they're forcing me to think, and have almost retarded. And I'm sorry to use this word, but it's just I don't know what as my language is it's getting hard to speak. I'm going to have to go into this fashion of speaking. I'm sorry for that. But they make me think in this illogical way. But the saddest part is just to see the people who are then trying to make you be like subscribe to this, and they do this weird noise. And talked about it. Like they make you have like this weird thoughts. I don't even want to go into details, but let's just say they were trying to make me imagine think about animations, right? And then they're trying to make me imagine specific animations, and they're like, would you be able to do something like? I'm like, naturally no, that would be nothing to me. But now with what you guys do to me, I'm sure you can make me feel certain ways, right? And I hear, and this is all happening in my brain, and they're forcing me to have like these thoughts, and it's just disgusting. But it's not even disgusting, but it's just stupidity. But I know that's how my brain is forced to think. They're making me think this way. They're making me try to do these things, and I think they're still under this influence that's like, oh my gosh, these are really my thoughts. Nobody is driving my thoughts to think this way. After almost 200 videos, I think those are really my thoughts. And to hear that this next door neighbor, right, who are contracted to do these things, these bottom fears are contracted to get you to accept this. By this point, there's not going to be subscriptions. I think maybe they might just make me be annoyed. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to capture this guy because I wanted to use his face. Because when you see who's doing that, you understand even better. And as this thought is going, I can hear him. I've said that before. Right? They do that. These things. It's just kind of funny because apparently when they, oh my God, we caught you. It's like a gaslighting method, right? And that's the things they do. And then they try to continue. I was like, oh, it's now we're going to turn into animation into actually children. And then they just make me think of, what about kids? Like, you nasty low life do stimulate me toward children. So I understand this is what you guys do. You stimulate me to get sexual stimulations. They literally are cranking my libido and doing something to my libido every time I think of kids. So I know what you guys do. I don't even want to imagine it, but I understand. These people who would make me climax and just almost give me a sensational climax when I think about, when there's kids or anything, children, like, they're disgusting and force you to get stimulations. These people are run by pedophiles. And when I'm actually having moments of sexual moments, at that moment of climax, they implant children. And all they do is this nasty pedophilia type of torture where they force you to get stimulation toward children. And that's the things they do. And they're like, oh, would you? It's like, low life, you guys are controlling those stimulations. You in low life will love that. Disgusting low life. To the point that when I'm actually having interaction that's sexual with a woman, they try to make me think of children. But you hear these people try to, would you? It's like, you low life. Don't even. You guys, of course, are stimulating me to experience this nasty stimulation that I'm experiencing today. Right now, they even give me the thoughts they give me the stimulations. And you hear this like air horn, right? Beer, like supposed to make you subscribe. That will cut your thoughts. I was like, oh, please. Those are not, first of all, my thoughts, but at the same time, I know that you guys are doing the stimulations. These disgusting things. Cracking up, and they're like, would you be able, I was looking, I remember when they were doing this initially, I was looking at my phone and they started giving me the stimulation on just the object on my phone. It's like, I can feel the stimulation just by looking at this phone. This low life are disgusting. And then you try to imagine, if you're pleasing yourself, would you, you nasty low life. These people make me feel such a stimulations. It's so disgusting. But I will never. Matter of fact, they ruin even moments of me having sexual thoughts, sexual moments, by implanting children and giving me the stimulations, which I'm like, this is ruined. I have to block it out because this is how they try to take over my brain, and then they try to gaslight you into thinking that it's you. It's like, no, it's what you do, and they're like, no, there is. Remember what you did to yourself when you were a kid, in 8th grade. Do you remember that you do the pedophilia type of torture? Do you remember that you do this program of perversion and you aim it toward children? Do you remember that almost all target individuals are forced to experience this kind of pedophilia type of torture? Do you remember that you do this manipulation of the libido? You remember that, right? Do you remember that I know that? Do you know that I know that you guys have done these disturbing, nasty manipulations and you do manipulate the thoughts in these disturbing ways? That those thoughts are not mine, I know that. Even though they're very stealthy. So when I hear this low life just like tell me I'm going to be beat, okay. These people involved in the program that manipulate people to feel the stimulations, this disturbing stimulation toward children, are going to beat me. These people in the program, right now I can press play, they've heard 100 times. The pedophilia type of a woman smelling baby powder. They do this pedophilia type of torture. What was it? You guys don't do that, huh? So I hear this guy who's like, I run into the hallway because I'm like, oh my gosh, let me take a picture. I've seen one of this guy over there, man. I swear, one of them look like he's not healthy. I don't know if it's the same guy. But they are under this impression that I will ever subscribe to it. You see, gaslighting is a method to try to make you subscribe to these things that you obviously know is not true. That you know it's not you. This is not. I'm not experiencing this organically. You guys are forcing me to get this stimulation. And then they try to create these disturbing thoughts. It's like if you were trying to please yourself, would you be able to climax if you think, and they give you the stimulations when you did it. And you're like, you guys are disgusting. I'm feeling the stimulation because you are doing this stimulation to me. And then they give you these scenarios, but if you stimulate yourself, while this feeling you're feeling right now, so, oh my gosh. It's like, what? You guys are low life, and then you hear them just tell me how they're gonna watch, you're gonna be tortured. Try to disorient you because the reality of what they're part of, right? That they're forcing you to get sexual stimulations, right? And then try to create these dialogues in your mind where they're like, if you were doing this and then you did, look, oh, disgusting. The reason why we climax is because you are forcing me to get me sexual stimulation. You're cranking my libido in these ways. That I'm to the point where I almost get like, I don't want to be graphic. They almost make me have like blue balls. That's how nasty they are. And like now you prove that you stimulate people in these disturbing ways and try to make them subscribe to it. And they're like, no, but we proved it because when you were in 8th grade, remember what you did as a kid? Then you hear this trash come out, or they do the air horn. Oh, we got you. We're going to beat you. So you're going to beat me. The pedo's going to beat me. That's how I see things. This slow life that try to rewire people in this fashion and try to make you think in this way, and then try to create you to be stimulated in this way, and then try to have these dialogues in your head after. Then using these childlike people who have no self-respect, or these men who have no fucking self-respect, but this animation try to create these things. Refuse to navigate. They don't want to be seen, huh? They don't. They know. They know what it would look like. How many people have already talked about these pedophilia things that they force people to think of, or to think like, or to have those thoughts of? This is not even just like a one here. Almost all target individuals have these kind of things happening to them. And you see these neighbors of them that sold their soul to pedophiles, right? To try to get you to subscribe to this illogical, nonsensical, first of all, thoughts. They start with animation, and then after that, they try to go back. Oh, but remember, if you would have, they were trying to do these thoughts. Even early on when they were doing this stimulation, could you? It was like you are cranking my libido right now to the point where I'm about to, and then you aim that toward children. What do you think? It's disgusting. That's what you guys do. I'm just like that woman in Florida that when she was petting her dog, started getting this sensation, stimulation. Then they started aiming toward children and young people, just like her. They're low lives. And like, castrate this trash ass. Yes, I'd rather get my dick cut off. Excuse me, I'd rather get my penis cut off than having to do what these people do. These people are so pathetic. That's the life of bottom feeders that have sold their soul to pedophiles and now try to get you to have these dialogues while cranking up your libido, while making you think of children, and then doing these things with your libidos aimed toward children and try to make you think and have these dialogues. It's like not paid off. It's like, yo, disgusting low life. Disgusting low life. Disgusting. These people can stimulate you so bad that you can have like pain. That's how they play with the libido. But the way they stimulate you is so disgusting. They aim those stimulation toward children or make you think, oh, it's so disgusting. What I'm saying is not new. They just try to counter the obviousness. They have to push themselves into a state of retardation. Listen, I can bring 2 seconds. Listen to this thing, just a second of that to see. Just listen to how mean these people are, right? And how smart they have to make themselves be.
Of perversion. First was with my dog. I am very playful with my pet, and suddenly one day that I was petting him, I felt strange, in the sense of the word. I thought, this is strange, and then afterwards that strange sensation continued. Then in that moment I realized that was impost, so I thought, look at this losers, don't know how to put me down, and they are doing this. So I told them that I know what you were trying to do, and I started laughing. And then I said again out loud, you'll never take my will, ASS. So just to show them that I meant what I said, I kept playing with my dog, and even though that attacks continue, I don't let them get me. Today, they continue with the programming of perversion, but this time they are aiming in the use of people, better said young people, also children.
So you hear her talk about, and she goes on about like even they aim it toward homosexuals and whatever they want, and then she will get like throughout the day they can crank up her libido and stimulate her however they want, right? But it doesn't end here. I can bring more. While these people are trying to like get you to subscribe to this thing. These people specialize in manipulate people in these disturbing ways. Listen to this.
Things, including smoke, burning, dirty diaper, or baby powder, which they sometimes combine with the pedophilia type of torture, including the threat.
Pedophilia type of torture when she smells baby powder. And you hear these people try to counter that. And try to disorient me. They always find ways to disorient me from what they're doing because it's obvious that they do this pedophilia type of torture. It's obvious they force you to get these disturbing stimulations. But let's change subject real quick, disorient you. Oh, no. And they whisper when they start talking in different fashions. Like, oh, now we're going to lie. We're going to frame you. Right? Coming from people who do the pedophilia type of torture. Right? This low life. This is their life. I think they want this mystical thing. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's how we missed. Because apparently what I'm saying is just, it's like, I know. The state of mind or however things sound like, don't worry. These people, war is to escape reality. But like I said, reality comes back and will get them. These people have to find a way to block out the fact that they obviously do this pedophilia type of torture, even though they're doing it. Do you understand how easy how things comes back to these losers? These pedophiles? What they're This is their job. I know who's responsible for me being here, and these pedophiles are going to do what these pedophiles usually do.
It's somebody trying to end my life. It's somebody trying to end who I am as a person. It's somebody trying to take over my mind, putting thoughts of pedophiles. Like this disgusting thing. You saw where I was going with that first word. Disgusting thing.
Not only they stimulate you, but they also have to make you have these thoughts. These disgusting thoughts. And me at some point they were like, oh, but if you were trying, like, would you be able to like would you be like, because while they stimulate you with the stimulation you're getting right now, would you be able to reach climax if you these people stimulate you to the point where you get to the point it hurts. So of course, at that point, even like a little bit of contact, poof, they're disgusting, and they really want you to subscribe to it. But no. You're, as a target individual, everything that happens to you is not only happening to you.
Most all targets are forced to view child pornography in their minds.
Child pornography in their mind, basically making them think in these disturbing pedophile ways, like forcing them to have disturbing thoughts. These people are pedophiles and low life. They tell me how they're going to implant child porn, and we're going to catch you the child porn that we implanted. Basically, that's what they're trying to say. No, but talking about child porn, do you know these agencies contracting these low lives are filled with pedophiles? Oh, of course they know that.
Sexually explicit videos of young girls filmed by their mothers. He resigned. One employee estimated that he had viewed up to 1,400 sexually abusive images of children while on agency assignments. Not sure what actions, if any, were taken by him. One contractor arranged for sex with an undercover FBI agent. I think that you mentioned that. Posing as a child. Some examples that BuzzFeed gives. And like you said, only one actually served any jail time for this. One employee had sexual conduct. This is one employee of the CIA had sexual contact with a 2-year-old and a 6-year-old. Finish this and then move on to the Ghislaine Maxwell trial. But sexual crimes involving children, says BuzzFeed, including the viewing of images of abuse, have been uncovered at other agencies that handle sensitive information. In a November 2009 report, the Department of Defense acknowledged that dozens of Pentagon staff members or contractors had such images. In 2014, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community found that 2 officials from the National Reconnaissance Office, which oversees America's spy satellites, acknowledged viewing images of child sexual abuse during polygraph examinations. This is so disturbing. At a symposium in 2016, Daniel Payne, a top Pentagon security official, said that when workers' computers were examined, the amount of child porn I see is just unbelievable.
So these are the people who tell me they're going to be mean and going to frame me with child porn. But let's not end there. These people who want me to feel guilty for the nasty stimulation they make me have actually the ability to do these nasty stimulations by listening to this man. Literally, I have no connection with this person, but he talks about how this technology has the ability to stimulate people and create some arousals, sexual arousal. Listen to that.
Be used to sexually manipulate the target. It can make the target feel sexual arousal.
This slow life are cranking up my libido and create those sexual arousal that this man talks about, but aiming it toward children. And then they try to have dialogues about with this sexual arousal will force you to have, if you're trying to like climax, would you? These people are disgusting. First of all, I'm like, they arouse you so much with this technology that can crank up your arousal that even just it will take 2 seconds. They're so disgusting. They do these things. But of course, I was like, you nasty low life. You guys they made me hate having a libido because they use this libido to disturb you. And they're like, no, they are. It's you. Then try to talk about you as a kid. And I'm supposed to like forget about the fact that they can have the ability to do all these things. With you, it's just we're matching you as a kid. We're not doing anything like that. As you. And then they do these thoughts. Which is, they force you to have these thoughts. And try to have these dialogues. I'm like, I know where this is going. You know, initially I was like, I'll think that these people like really like, no, I know you're trying to make me then create a scenario of this sexual arousal that we're forcing you to have at this moment. If you're I'm like, I'm about to like, this arousal is so strong, it's so intense that it will take 2 seconds to climax because they crank these things up. It's like, oh, you see proof. It's so nasty. And they make somebody disturbed by sexual arousal. Every time I feel sexual arousal, first of all, I know it's them because you can feel it. It's like a button they push. It's a weird feeling. It doesn't feel like natural. They have ruined my libido in the sense that they have directed my libido in these disturbing ways that now I'm like, oh, I will take something to kill my libido completely. Because the way they've done these things and the way they've manipulated me to experience this thing is disgusting. And you hear these bottom feeders that work contracted by these pedophiles to try to do, no, it's fake. You see, when you work, these people in the program that manipulate the libido in these disturbing ways. They're like, oh, black girls, now believe it. When I know that almost all target individuals are forced to have these pedophilia things, this low life thing, I'm going to be subscribing to this. After even this BuzzFeed article exposed this low life, this contracted trash by these entities are filled with pedophiles. And this trash that is contracted by these entities are here try to gaslight you into accepting this thing, doing all the different noise campaign. The humiliation they have, I don't know how they can even look at themselves and feel normal. Yes, whatever horrible things is going to happen to me. Yes, you know why? Because the employer who put me in this program made sure that I was in this program. So that's it. You guys, this trash, this perps next door are going to do all the different noise campaigns. It's your thought. Even that, listen to what exactly, even the manipulation of thoughts. It's just so obvious that they do this. Well, I obviously know my thoughts, but this time it's just, you get so much validation that the thoughts are even forced into you. And I don't even know where they're going. Like, I know it's like, oh, but they start going with the animation. Could you, like, and they crank up my libido. Could you, like, climax? I'm feeling this stimulation. Of course, you guys can make me climax in 0.2 seconds. And then they try to go into, oh, what about, start making me think about kids. And then it's like doing this stimulation. I'm like, oh, nasty. And then bringing me back to the days when they would try to do this back and forth. It's like with this stimulation, I can climax in 2 seconds because they force me to have this. They crank this stimulation, this sexual arousal that it would take nothing, just a little bit of friction, because that's what they do to me. And they're like, no, we just match it to you when you were a kid. And truly, I have this battle in my brain. And like somebody opens the doors, like, which proud they are. As if I just didn't listen to this man literally say the things I'm saying. They force you to get sexual arousals. They can crank it up whenever. They can even turn it off if they want to. But for me, they just crank it up and aim it toward children. Just like that woman. And then they try to have you have these dialogues in your brain to try to vilify you on the things they're doing to you. And ask you random questions, like try to make you imagine. So with this stimulation that you're having right now, could you be like, while you're fully aroused by them? These people are arousing your stimulation to the point, your libido to the point that you're about to climax, and try to have you have these dialogues. That's supposed to be like a trap. I'm like, with the way you stimulate my libido, it will take me nothing to be climaxing, but that's because you're controlling my libido. If I was not being manipulated this way, of course, these nasty things will never be happening. Of course, this thing will not be possible. And they're like, but when you were a kid, I'm an adult man telling you, I know myself and know that this nasty stimulation is because you guys are forcing me to experience this. But I'm not the only one who says that. Others knows. And these dialogues that they force you to have comes from here.
Used to implant words, phrases, images, and motion pictures into the target's psyche or natural stuff. The idea behind this is to make the target believe that those are his real thoughts when they are not, synthetic telepathy.
They can even have these thoughts that you can think is yours, which at this point I know they're not mine, especially when they go into the ways of having those dialogues. I'm like, I know it's them. And they try to have this back and forth, which they pretend, even those dialogues, is them creating those dialogues. And matter of fact, when I was listening to that, they were trying to gaslight me, because what they do is obviously they can access your memories. But on top of accessing your memories, they can manipulate your memories. Others have said that. And this manipulation of memories is actually old stuff they could do even back in the 60s. But that's what they do. They force you to experience the nastiest things you can imagine, and then try to gaslight you, and force you to have these dialogues, and they're like, it's like, you're disgusting low life. You're here forcing me to imagine what you'd be feeling like these video animations, and then try to then put your babies, then cranking up your libido. It's like, oh, with that like, stimulation, would you feel? It's like, with the stimulation that you're forcing me to have. Do you understand? They don't even understand the logicalness of what they sound like. This is what you call gaslighting, but this low life will get there. So they work for pedophiles. They do this pedophile type of torture, and they force you to have these dialogues and this nastiness of thoughts, and this ways of thinking, and try to get you to subscribe to this, to asking you to do things like, with this stimulation that we're having you have, would you be able? Can you imagine? Disgusting. But that's what they do, and that's how nasty they are. But they will get theirs. In the meantime, let them be gods. They only had to do is to sell themselves to pedophiles, and then they're like,